Good morning, student. In last period, we learned agricultural practice, that is adding manure and fertilizers. We learned about the manure. Manure is an organic waste decomposition of an organic waste result into the manure. And we also learn the advantages of manure. Now, under substance which are also added to the soil for the more production of crop. This is fertilizers. So fertilizers are chemical substances which are rich in specific nutrient like sodium, potassium, nitrogen, phosphorus, etc. So fertilizers are chemical which increase the fertility of soil by providing specific nutrients to the soil. Example of fertilizers are urea, diammonium phosphate, superphosphate, NPK. NPK means nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium fertilizers. So these are some example of fertilizers like urea, ammonium phosphate, NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Superphosphate, diammonium phosphate, potash, etc. are example of fertilizers. So fertilizers are purely chemicals which is used to increase the fertility of soil and are specific nutrient, rich in specific nutrient. What are the advantages of fertilizers? So we know that purpose of adding fertilizer is to yield more production, to produce more production of crop. So the advantage of fertilizer is also the same, that is the use of fertilizers has helped the farmer to get better yield of crop. Better yield of crop matlab more yield of crop, more production of crop, such as wheat, paddy means rice, and maize. Production of wheat, paddy, maize, or any other crop is more by adding a fertilizer into the soil. So, what are the disadvantages of fertilizers? The fertilizers are, we know they are a chemical which increase the fertility of soils, and chemicals are obviously create some harmful effect on the soil and an environment. So, disadvantage of fertilizers are excessive use of fertilizers. If we use fertilizers, then has made the soil less fertile. It means that we use excess of fertilizers into the soil become unfertile, matlab fertility of soil is decreases. So excessive use of fertilizers decreases the soil fertility. resultant in to the production of crop is decreases. Because the production of crop is directly related to the fertility of soil. If the fertility of soil is decreases, then the production or yield of crop is also decreases. So we should use fertilizers judiciously. Another disadvantage is fertilizers also become a source of water pollution as well as land pollution also. So excessive use of fertilizer have to become a source of water pollution. It dissolves in water and percolate through the water into the groundwater, and this groundwater is a diluted form of fertilizers in this water. So it creates water pollution. So these are the disadvantages of fertilizer, that is excessive use of fertilizers make the soil unfertile, and excessive use of fertilizers become a source of water pollution. So how can we replenish the fertility of soil? Therefore, in order to maintain the fertility of soil, we have to substitute fertilizers by organic manure. Organic manure is prepared from the plant and animal waste by decomposing the waste. So we substitute fertilizer by organic manure or leave the field uncultivated, that is field fallow. Leave the field uncultivated means no plantation in the field between the two crops. So at least 4 to 5 months the field remains as an uncultivated field. This is field fallow. This increases the fertility of soil again, and naturally all the nutrients present in the soils are increases by remains the field uncultivated or field fallow. Another method of replenishing the soil with nutrient is through a crop rotation. Crop rotation means we take two crops of different type. Like if we plant or take a crop of pulses like groundnuts in rainy season, then in winter season we take a crop of cereals in the same field. When we take the pulses crop like groundnut or any other pulses, it increases the amount of nitrogen, which is a major nutrient requirement for the plant, is increased into the soil, because in the roots of pulses there are some nodules on the roots of the pulses plant. These nodules is known as root nodules. On the root nodules there are some bacteria are present on these nodules. These bacteria are rhizobium bacteria. These rhizobium bacteria are biological nitrogen fixer. Biological nitrogen fixer means it fixes atmospheric nitrogen into the usable form and dissolved form into the water. These dissolved nitrogen are into the water are absorbed by the plant and requirement of nitrogen is fulfilled by this natural way. And these rhizobium bacteria increases huge amount of nitrogen into the soil. And if we take after the pulses crop, cereal crop like wheat, bajra, maize, etc., then this cereal crop require nitrogen as a major nutrient, and this nutrient is already replenished by taking a crop of pulses in previous season. This is called crop rotation. Crop rotation means we take two different crops in alternatively. So, to substitute fertilizer by organic manure or leave the field uncultivated in between two crops, another method of replenishing the soil with nutrient is through crop rotation. This can be done by growing different crops alternatively or by mixed cropping. Mixed cropping is taking a two type of crop in different two rows at the same time. Like one row of crop is cereal crop like wheat, etc., and its neighboring row is planted as a pulses crop. So these pulses crop increase the nitrogen into the soil, which is required by the cereal crop. This type of cropping is called mixed cropping. So we replenish the nutrient in the soil in this different way, like field fallow, mixed cropping, or by adding manure, or by adding fertilizers, etc. So today we learn adding fertilizer into the soil, as well as advantages and disadvantages of fertilizers. Now, when we meet next period, we learn the comparison between fertilizers and manure, as well as differences between fertilizers and manure. Thank you.